If there's one thing we as Formula One fans love, it has to be intense and close wheel-to-wheel battles and championship fights. So, when George Russell got promoted to Mercedes to line alongside Lewis Hamilton, it was like a match made in heaven. Everyone immediately started talking about an inter-team rivalry developing at the Brackley-based team as young Russell and the dynamic between the two drivers was getting compared to the Nico Rosberg era more often than not. But as the excitement died down, doubts started creeping in. We all know what happened when Valtteri Bottas joined the team back in 2017. He was there simply to play a supporting role to the champ and to bring back big point results to ensure Mercedes' streak of constructor championships doesn't come to an end. And given Hamilton is nowhere near the end of his prime, many suggestions that Russell will simply inherit Bottas' second driver status until Hamilton retires were becoming more and more frequent. Russell is the team's future. There is no doubt about that. He really is the next big thing that Mercedes have. But whilst Lewis remains to have a full-time seat with the team, it is hard to imagine a different Mercedes dynamic than Hamilton being the lead driver. George Russell now opened up about how he truly feels about the situation and about how he expects to be treated during his first year with the Brackley team. He spoke extensively about his championship-winning chances during his first full season with Mercedes, as the 24-year-old admitted he wrote off any title contention chances right away. This is what the young Mercedes driver had to say when being asked about going for the title right away. "It's not even something I'm thinking about, to be honest. I think it's quite incredible how racing drivers' minds work. That when you put the helmet on, doesn't matter if you're fighting for a win or, for me for the last few years, fighting at the back of the grid. You always get on with the exact same mindset," said Russell. And I had the best example of that in Bahrain when I raced for Mercedes in 2020. For me, that was just another race. Whether I was out in front or starting on the front row, the approach is the same. The mindset is the same. The work you put into the event, post-event, is exactly the same. So, work on the process and worry about everything afterwards, concluded the latest member of the Petronas-backed team. So whilst Russell remains to have a one-race-at-a-time approach, and he's not really spending a lot of time thinking about the long term, Toto Wolff was the next to break silence on the matter, as he praised Russell and admitted the team remains the #1 priority. "We never had a situation where it was 1 and 2, they had equal opportunities and the same car," said the Mercedes chief. This year, the interesting situation is we have in George the up-and-coming star in one seat, and undoubtedly the best Formula One driver ever in the other seat. So the dynamic is new, and clearly it's something that we will try to steer in a direction that has the most positive effect on developing the car and making us overall competitive, concluded Wolff. Ted Kravitz, who is a notoriously known F1 reporter, now also joined the conversation as the pit lane man admitted he has a pretty clear idea of what's about to happen in the Silver Arrows garage. He will push Hamilton, but when he's told to by the team, he will also submit as a second driver, said Kravitz when speaking about the Russell-Hamilton duo. "I think the dynamic is absolutely fine. Yes, Lewis would have preferred Valtteri Bottas to stay because they had an established relationship with good respect, and Lewis didn't have to worry about the other driver being quicker than him too often. That might not be the case with Russell, but Mercedes will make sure nothing gets in the way of Lewis going for the championship if he is way ahead." So, whilst Toto Wolff did his job as a team principal and didn't gravitate towards any of the drivers as he took a pretty neutral stance at the situation, Kravitz and mainly George himself has a clear expectation of playing a bit of a support role during the former stages of his Mercedes career. But there is not a better man to ask about beating Hamilton than the driver who spent his last 5 years attempting to do so. We're obviously talking about Valtteri Bottas. The Finn followed a similar trajectory as Russell. He also raced for Williams before making the step up to Mercedes, and he joined at a time when Lewis was already deeply embedded in the team and was enjoying the glory of multiple titles with the Silver Arrows. So, when Bottas was asked about the chances of the man who took his seat to beat his ex-teammate, the Finn didn't hesitate to go on a bit of a rant. "I don't see anyone else beating Lewis in the near future in the same machinery," said the ex-Mercedes driver. George will adjust well because he has been with Mercedes for some years, but beating Lewis is not easy. I've experienced that. It is his consistency in his performances. Every driver has form that is a little bit up and down, but his baseline for performance is just so high. Even when he has a bad day, it is not too bad. It is his consistency over the season. Another of his key strengths is his ability to adapt to different conditions, the skill to react to changes, be it setup or whatever. This and his racecraft. His tire management is a special skill, and all these things are combined with talent. And he puts in the work, which not many people see, so he is hard to beat. I can be proud that on my day, I've been able to beat him, but not consistently enough to beat him over a season, concluded Bottas. What the all-new British lineup brings us remains to be a huge question mark. Russell will be hungry to establish himself as an invaluable component of the Mercedes team and will be putting all his effort and energy in his new role. But Hamilton has a bitter taste left on his tongue. After the way last season ended, he's hungry to clinch his record-breaking 8th world title, and he surely isn't looking to end his streak of beating his teammate that he has held ever since 2017. Which one of the two Britons will emerge as the victor within the driver pairing? Will it be young fresh blood in George Russell, or the experience and consistency that driver number 44 represents? Let us know in the comments down below the video. As always, we read each and every one of them. If you enjoyed the video, if it made you think, or if this was unknown information to you, let us know we did a good job by hitting that like button, as well as considering subscribing. We've let YouTube decide which video you would enjoy watching next the most based on your unique watching habits. Let's see if they are right.